This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us. Check out IWC, RWA, and more. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail dog set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. For the taste of the fly.
Hey guys, it is the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this is the show where we talk with people in and around independent professional wrestling. And you can check out all the great podcasts over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, including a lot of our discussions over I don't even know what number I left off at. I think it's over 200 interviews we have at least over there. I just gave up on numbering. It's like, you know what? There's just a bunch of them. Just go look for your favorite person that may be in a Fed with 3 letters and not, or not right now. And we've talked to plenty of them. And of course, please go check out IndyWrestling.us. A lot of people we interview, including our guest tonight, is featured on several titles, sometimes under different names. So make sure you get them all. Or maybe we forget those old names. Depends on how this interview goes. And of course, go check out www.IndyWrestling.network, where you guys can fill up on all the great wrestling content from our friends from Premiere, Rise, old PWO, Pro Wrestling Ohio stuff with like old Johnny Gargano and stuff like that. Doesn't even look the same. He has flag tights. It's weird. DJZ has a whole different name that nobody can spell. It's crazy. Go check that out. www.indywrestling.network for your free 7-day trial to get started. So my guest this week, again, this is somebody that has been on the get list for a while. We finally lined it up. And here he is in studio. The juggernaut, John Rodin, is with us here tonight. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. It's finally, like 8 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Off and on, asking to come on and just never lining it up. So.
Exactly. So first of all, we do like to have a little bit of an icebreaker here on the show. So I'd like to ask, what was your earliest memory of pro wrestling?
My earliest one, I can't tell you the event. I can't tell you what year. I'm going to guess it was like 98. It was Jeff Jarrett slamming a guitar off of X-Pac's head. And that's what I remember first. And then, of course, like Mick Foley getting thrown off the Hell in a Cell. Those are like the 2 earliest that I can recall that I remember seeing and just being blown away. So
awesome. And that was just kind of what hooked you on it at the time? Was that like kind of the first things you saw, or just kind of the most memorable?
Yeah, I don't know if that's what hooked me or not. Like I had an older brother. He's 5 years older than me, so it might have been just to fit in with him, and because it's you want to impress him and stuff. But like the bug just bit me hard. Like for the first couple years, like 98 to like 2001, completely obsessed, took over my life, and then like from like 2001 to like 2003 is the years that I have no recollection of pro wrestling. Like I just stopped, and like those are some of the best years.
Wait. Now which years of your life were these?
What do you mean?
How old were you at this point?
98. I was born in 92, so 98 I was 6.
Yeah.
So 6, 7, 8, 9. Like 6 to 10 I was into it deep, and then I took a break till I was like 12. Well, yeah, probably.
This is something I have this, and we just did another interview that was talking about like a period in like high school where they got out of it. Like I think everybody has this like fallout period for a couple years, like the longtime fans.
Mine was before high school, but
so it wasn't girls in sports that did it necessarily.
No, not at all. Like no, there's no girls. But I think I don't even want to say it, but I think my brother just told me, he's like, it's fake, right? That stuff's fake. I was like, oh my gosh. So it like broke my heart, and I was like, well, if they're lying to me, I can't watch it. So like for a couple years, I don't know. Like
so it was the realization.
I guess I don't know, like Santa being revealed to you and all that. So I just like I don't know. My memory's horrible, but I remember him telling me that, and it like traumatized me. And then when I was 12 years old and we moved up to a different area, I got the bug like real bad, and then it just took off from there. I want
to point out, this is also, you're talking about the area where there was like Undertaker and Kane throwing lightning at each other, right?
What, like 98 and all that?
Yeah. So,
but
of course, like that's not as outside the imagination when you're like 6, 7
Yeah,
years
you don't
old.
care. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
into it. You're into the characters. It doesn't matter.
Because on TV, it's in front of an audience. How can they fake this stuff?
Yeah,
Right?
and I mean, I don't care now. So
Yeah, it's true.
you can throw lightning now. Cool. Fact.
Yes, it's just hey, when you have 300 people, I just don't mind anymore.
Yeah, if we could throw lightning in RWA, I'd pitch it.
I don't want to burn
Just
the.
one time.
I
let's
was
have lightning.
I was worried when there was fire the one time.
Who had fire?
I think Sean Phoenix was there
Okay,
once.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just like, ooh, this place. It seems very flammable. So, anyways, so you're with it for a while. How did you go from being a fan, returning to a fan, and then deciding, hey, I want to get into this and get in the ring and do this? Were you always kind of in that mindset? I want to get in the ring, or when did that kind of come about?
When I was 12 and we finally moved, we moved up to the country, and like the bug bit me hard. And then, I'm gonna bring up this guy a lot, but Bronco McBride, I met him when I was 12 years old. We're sitting at the high school cafeteria table, and I'm the new kid, and I'm just sitting there looking around, not saying much, and I don't know anybody. And I just randomly, I don't know why I asked, because I must have been obsessed, but I go, does anybody like wrestling? And I'll tell you the story. He goes, I like wrestling. And then it all just started from there, like, oh my gosh.
I'm just imagining in my head baby Rodin and baby Bronco just like at the table.
Yeah.
And seeing him getting excited, I like wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little chubbier, but we look exactly the same. So. But yeah, it started from there. Like, I cannot tell you how obsessed I was with professional wrestling from like 12 to 17. That was it. Me and McBride, we did a backyard promotion. Like, McBride would miss school so he could edit videos, and he'd come in and he'd send me these, like, we'd pass notes, and he'd be like, oh, look at this championship, and he'd draw it out, and we had names, everything. So it was very, very deep. Like, I can't explain it. All the DVDs, had to have them. I'd beg for pay-per-views. Like, I just need this, like, one time. I promise I'll be good for the next couple months. Like, I won't do anything. And then the worst pay-per-view I ever got was December to Dismember.
Oh.
ECW? Yeah, I was like,
Man.
we got to get it. It's going to be crazy. Extreme Elimination Chamber. And it was the worst garbage I've ever watched. But,
yeah, that shattered a lot of dreams that night.
yeah, it started then. Like, 12 years old with McBride. It just never ended.
So how did you like finally, of course, doing the backyard thing for a while.
Yeah.
But how did you like finally say, hey, we're going to go get trained and do this?
Well, McBride and my plan was to go to Georgia for WW4A, I believe it is, the Mr. Hughes camp, or his school
Mr.
down there where like
Hughes.
AR Fox went and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we were going to move to Georgia right after we graduated from high school. Oh, we'll get a place and we'll train all day, and that was the plan.
Georgia, is this like around Atlanta or?
I don't know. I believe so. It
somewhere
probably
out
is.
there.
But yeah, McBride went there once when he went down there. But that was the plan. Like, we are doing this no matter what. We have to do this. And we did the backyard stuff. And it started because we were like linking backyard videos to like Chuck Roberts and all that, like IWC's page. And
Oh
like,
no.
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's cringeworthy, or at least I was. I'm not going to throw McBride out there, but I believe I was. I was like, can you watch this and let me know what you think? And like, we really thought we were good. And it might have been Flexer. He's brought it up a few times, and it's like, go get trained, go, And we found IWC, and it just made sense. This is only an hour and a half away, maybe 2 hours, but came to the realization we don't need to go that far.
It wasn't Georgia.
No, Georgia wasn't the answer when you're a 17-year-old kid. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't probably the wisest move, but
So you came in under, I believe you were Shima or DJZ's. I don't know where he was at in the name change at the point. But you were DJZ's trainees at the time, right?
Mhm.
For the most part. So
Yeah.
how was that transition into it? Of course, maybe doing a little bit of the backyard. I always hear you have to kind of unlearn all those bad habits when you go in.
I think actually doing the backyard stuff, like, I don't advise it at all, but
No.
like,
Go get trained, guys.
the level of obsession we had, like, we kind of knew what we were doing, like the roles and stuff like that. So I think it came easy to us.
Mhm.
We were, as far as I know, DJZ's only trainees. He told us plenty of times, like, I'm not training anybody else. You guys are it. Like, we had 4 in the class and the 2 dropped out. So it was me and my best friend, like, going through it. So, he was a good trainer. He had a lot of knowledge. This was right before he got into Impact. Like, he started blowing up. So we learned a lot, but he'd be the first one to tell you he wasn't the most reliable. Like, he was very knowledgeable, but he wasn't the most reliable. There was plenty of times where me and McBride would drive an hour and a half to my mom's. She let us get the car because, you know, we don't want to damage other people's cars. We drive her car to the training facility, and then we'd wait there for like 3 hours because he was incapacitated or something along those lines. Like, he was having fun, so we weren't his primary focus. But when he did teach us, like, we were learning amazing things. Like, he brought in lowrider, and like, we were doing all sorts of lucha stuff. That's why you see McBride doing backflips, and you know, I'm pretty agile. I can do stuff like that because he said, no, you're doing it. Like, if I'm training you, you're going to do it.
It was interesting, and I've talked about multiple times on the show over the years about, like, yeah, these guys came out, they're Blue Collar Slaughterhouse, and there's like it's a redneck tag team that doesn't look like they should be doing the moonsaults they are.
Yeah,
you know, like, it was just like DJZ trainees, obviously.
Yeah, we're the forgotten class from IWC.
You didn't get a proving grounds.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't know. And like I said, we can go deep into that if you want, but like, we had an opportunity to be the next tag team, like the Gambinos, to come out and do something with it. And it wasn't because we didn't care. Like, I cared about getting better and stuff like that, but I wasn't listening to the advice that I was getting. Get in shape, go to the gym, start training more, do what you can on the side. Like, I wasn't doing that, and that's my fault. Like, for the longest time, I held it against everybody else. Yeah. You know, in the dark ages, like when I was, you know, depressed and stuff like that, I'd be like, why aren't we getting chances? Why aren't we getting? Well, we did have chances, and I wasn't utilizing that to the fullest. Like, I was too young and immature at the time.
So talk about this. So you're a Blue Collar Slaughterhouse, and I say this is one of those things where, you know, you guys were doing great things. It was a lot of fun to watch your matches in that era, and then, like, I just noticed, like, Bronco's teammate kind of went away, and everything too. So what happened there?
I don't know. I just let the wrestling business, like, discourage me a lot. There was, I remember, it might have been a proving ground or something along that. It was in that building that they had it in, the White Oak Athletic. We had a tag team match. I had my girlfriend at the time and her friend come down. So it was like 2 hours, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we get there, and like, our opponent, one of the guys couldn't make it. And I was like, oh man, this stinks, like, blah, blah, blah. So Chuck, I mean, it is what it is, but he made McBride team with he was going to face the other guy. So I was out of the match. I was going to stand at ringside. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I had family. Like, I confronted him about it. I said, I got family here, man. Like, they drove really far. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. So I'd let something like that ruin, you know what I mean? Like, I'd carry that. And I don't know. I held on to it for a while. And like, I'm like, why aren't we getting opportunities and blah, blah, blah. Well, it was my fault, you know? If I would have worked harder, if I would have been a standout guy, if, you know, there's other ways around it. But, yeah, it just started. It was a lot of the mental stuff with me. Like, McBride was always, they pick me up. Like, come on, dude, stick with it. Let's go. Let's do this. Like, we'd have cars break down. McBride's lost jobs because of pro wrestling. Like, no, I got to go train, or we had to go set up and tear down. Like, he's like, I just can't make it. I'm not going to be there. So he'd lose jobs. Like, he was holding me together for a while there. And then I'd quit for like a couple months, and then I'd come back, and then I'd quit again. And like, I was pretty notorious. Like, you know, like, I'd get in and out of it. Like I said, it was all my fault. But
so you disappeared for a while, out of pro wrestling. You had to deal with your stuff, right? Yeah,
it was here and there. Like I said, I'd be like, oh, I quit, and I'd wait like 2-3 months, and then I'd go and do another show.
So it was kind of like a spotty thing in maybe places I
was
haven't
not
heard
dedicated
of.
at all.
No,
like, I loved it, and then but like I said, I was spiteful. Like, I blamed everybody else. Like I feel like a lot of the trainers were like giving guys opportunities. Hey, come with me to the show. Come with me. But DJZ was blowing up. He was going everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like we didn't have the guidance to push us. And it's not like I was asking.
You didn't have your guy there anymore to help you out.
Yeah, my trainer like took off, and that's no discredit to the other guys. Like, they're great. No. They're amazing, and I've learned so much from them. Like Marshall and Hentai, like, I look up to them so much. And but like, I just use that anything for an excuse. I was doing it at the time. Like, I could have bugged DJZ. Like, you know. I could have said, hey, can you bring me here? And he took us to a couple shows here and there, like Tennessee and Chicago. But like I said, it's all about your drive and determination. I could have bugged him like crazy for these opportunities, and I didn't.
So what was it that kind of clicked for you? You know, obviously there was a bit of a comeback. Yeah. And I remember I can't remember which show I saw you pop up in again.
Probably Noctis in Clearfield.
Probably. Yeah. Interesting how that all comes together.
Yeah, that was a moment. So
what kind of clicked, and tell me about this journey to kind of become John Rodin, because you were a different name at the time, and now you're a different person, a different character.
Yeah, I'm a completely
doing
different
something.
person.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think that's why I click with my fans a lot. Like, I've been through the depression, and I've been through like self-doubt, and there's nobody that's beating themselves up more than me. So I get that, and that's where I was in life. It was just constant. And I think 2015, I got my job at a prison, and
that seems very common around wrestlers doing well these days.
yeah,
I've just noticed, just anecdotally.
yeah. So I get a job at a prison, and this was January of 2015. And the reason I started to lose the weight was because I'm around the most dangerous people in the world. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I want to be the baddest looking dude in here. Like, that was my mindset. Obviously, I'm not the baddest looking dude, but that was my mentality. Like, if I'm going to go in here, I'm going to give them a reason to hesitate when trying to mess with me. So it started from there. And, like, that first year of working at the jail, like, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I'm fine now, but the first year, I was miserable, like clinically depressed, like couldn't stand it, didn't know what I was doing with my life, so confused. Like I said, like nights you're almost tearing up, you know. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, and it just clicked. I want to say it was 2016 when I finally got it, you know. Like, I was seeing, I'm trying to format the story here. I'd see guys like Palace get opportunities and Britt Baker and stuff like that. And I'm not going to lie, like, I am happy for them. I'm happy for any guy that's like working hard and gets an opportunity. But in that state of mind, when I was depressed, I saw them get opportunity. I said, why them? Why are they getting a chance? Why are they going with that guy? We were in IWC first. We trained, you know, we were just as hard, just as dedicated. We drove farther than anybody. You know, I lost cars. I've spent money that I didn't have. McBride's lost jobs. Like, I was like, I'm sacrificing more than anybody. Why didn't I get it? And I was mad at them. I was happy, but I was mad. And then it just like, I'm the problem. I eventually, you know, like, that's what you got to realize. Everything that I got, I deserved in pro wrestling for my first 6 years. It was my fault. So when you take accountability for that, that's when everything changed. And it was like in the middle of 2016. I don't know if it was somebody getting an opportunity or a match on Raw or something like that, but a light bulb switched, and I just stepped it into a new gear. And I was like, I'm going to become the best indie wrestler that I can, you know, and like, that's my goal even to this day. I want to be the best in the area. Like, I don't know if I'm there. I feel like I'm climbing the ranks slowly. Like, when I'm on shows, I feel like I'm starting to creep up onto people's radar. But that was the driving force. Like, middle of 2016, super depressed. I was like, screw this. It's my turn to get an opportunity. And it snowballed from there.
So you got so again, first time I saw you back was Clearfield. And
Somewhere
like,
around there.
Who's
Somewhere
this
around
John?
2016.
Got a little bit like, who's this John Rodin guy? And I'm like, he looks a little familiar.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And with Noctis, who you know, kind of funny because again, he was just in here for an interview, and you guys are involved in some stuff in RWA as well.
Yeah.
So kind of another full circle happening.
That was
there.
kind of like my coming out party there for you know, reemergence, and like IWC. I wanted to prove something, and I'm way better than I was then. But like, that was like, holy crap, he lost the weight. He actually did what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
And I thought the match was decent. So I don't know. It was, like I said, my goal is to kind of make up for the lost time that I spent the last 6 years before that I didn't take advantage of every opportunity. It's like, now if you give me one, I'm going to do everything I can to, you know, put your faith in me and be that guy. So that's been my mission.
So what was you were you know, kind of part of a team, Blue Collar Slaughterhouse, and now you kind of become this juggernaut character. Can you talk about a little bit of the mindset that's kind of applied to how you're presenting yourself these days?
Yeah, I can't tell you where the juggernaut name, where I just picked up the juggernaut, but the Rodin, you know, Augustus Rodin, something like that. He did the Thinking Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I kind of got it from that.
I was wondering, in my head, I think I misplace it for Ronin.
Yeah.
You know, like which is, I think, former samurai.
I got Rodin. I've gotten my name messed up. It doesn't matter what it is; it's gonna mess up. Like,
well, it's gonna be, because I mean, we just, you know, the most reliable of announcers are in indie wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, announcers. There's been some rough ones.
Yeah, and it was just the thinking aspect. the thinking man, and like I cannot tell you how many nights I spent obsessing about pro wrestling and dissecting it and thinking about my goals and how to beat this depression and how to get out of it. Like, and I was like, okay, that's fitting. I like the name Rodin. It's the thinker, you know, it just tied in together. So with the Juggernaut, I kind of apply it to, like, if you see any of my posts online, it's all about positivity. It's all about going for it. It's all about stepping out of your comfort zone. So straightforward, you know, I'm going to bother you as much as possible, and I'm going to keep showing up until you give me the chance. Like, I got a wheelhouse of companies. Hey, do you have an opportunity? I can come in. Hey, do you have an opportunity? I can come in. Justin Plummer. Hey, I see you're going to be in Clearfield. Can I show up? Blah, blah, blah. It's just constant. Like, I will not stop. I will have you stop talking to me because I bother you before I don't ask. You know what I mean?
So a complete 180 from what you were doing before.
Yeah, and that's what I realized. I wasn't asking. I wasn't asking for advice. I wasn't asking to work top guys. I was just settling with whatever it was. Now my mindset is I want the best that Pittsburgh has. And obviously I go all over now. Like, I'm starting to branch out, but, like, I want Pittsburgh. Like, this is my area. This is where I started. It's my turn. So, like I said, like a couple posts ago, I want Wardlow. I want Palace. I want LaRusso. Whoever they think the best is, that's who I want to be against. I want Hentai and all that. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Like I said, you've been about every promotion from Rise to Black Diamond, even just this past weekend, RWA, IWC, and all around, you know, the outside of the state as well.
Yeah.
Mostly I'm seeing you at RWA. You got to have a lot going on there. It seems like you had about 10 matches with Bronco.
10,000?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But still, no matter how repetitive like that you were having another match was, it still was an amazing match and something different happened.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is impressive for that going from month to month, because it was definitely one of those, and I don't know what was going on with the booking at the time and stuff, but you know, it was a lot of the, you know, kind of like how many times we're going to see Seth and Dolph Ziggler you know, every Monday night. But it was something different. You guys had a lot of story and a lot of back and forth. And it's interesting because now it, again, talking full circle, you've kind of come back together into a tag team this past month too. Can you talk about a little bit of like coming to RWA, that vibe and that path for you?
Yeah. If I had to thank anybody as part of my big resurgence, it's Dr. Feelbad. Like, I don't care what anybody says about him. He gave me a chance when nobody was. Like, when I did this whole resurgence thing, he said, come in here, do what you got to do, like, impress me. And I think it was like the second show I did for him. He pulled me to the side. He said, and it like got to me. He's like, man, you did so well. I don't know what the other companies were doing. Like, I can't believe they let you go. And he's like, you have a home here and you can do it. And like, it was that word of encouragement, like the pat on the back. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something here. And it just snowballed from there. And then I had that feud with McBride, and it's still kind of a feud right now. But like you said, I pride myself in those series of matches that we had, because I felt like every time I was like, oh, we got to do this again, and we're going to go to war again. And I feel like we kept stepping it up, or we added a new layer to the story, or there was some kind of twist. Like, you face a guy month after month after month, and even the other guys in the back are like, oh, you guys again, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like we were delivering, you know what I mean? I felt like we were the hottest feud at the time. So, and then it comes full circle. Now we're a tag team again. So I feel like I got to prove it on my own by myself. Now it's like, okay, we'll step into the tag team realm and do it again. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't be that partner that I was in 2011 when I first started. Like, I wasn't dedicated. I was the quitter. I had to be talked into doing stuff. So now it's kind of like a redemption thing. Obviously, we're butting heads, as you can see, and we're always going to butt heads. I've butted heads with him for 14 years.
So what we're seeing in the ring is not too much different than what happens in real life.
Not at all. He's the friend and the enemy. Like, we will butt heads, and I will say what he doesn't want to hear, and if I say something he doesn't like, he's gonna fire right back. And that's like, what you see in the ring is real. Like, when it comes to wrestling, we will bicker, we will fight, we will, die on our sword for what we believe, and that's what you're going to get with the tag team now. So it's exciting and it's stressful. Like, you got two kind of alpha mentalities clashing now, and plus we had so many good matches with each other, so it's an interesting dynamic. Like, RWA is going to get crazy with the tag team division.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it's been a really amazing story, and great to kind of watch And I say I've been behind the camera and behind the edit on a lot of these from the beginning of your career, and it's cool to see you back in the scene here again.
Yeah.
So what are you watching these days, whether it be a promotion or any individuals out there that kind of got your attention, whether it's just, stuff that's inspiring you or just stuff that to watch out for as you're traveling around?
Stuff that inspires me is kind of like these guys that are starting to break out. Like I went to the Harley camps, in 2016 and 2017 for like a week straight.
And what are the Harley camps?
Yeah, Harley Race Pro Wrestling camps.
Okay.
He has them for like a week long. You pay X amount of dollars. You go all the way to Missouri, and you stay the week, and you train with. He had Steve Carino. He had the guys from New Japan. I trained under Delirious. Dave Taylor, William Regal's old partner. Like I trained with some of the best professional wrestlers in the world. And my first camp was I wasn't ready. Like I was in the process of losing weight and getting my stuff together, but I felt like I was in the top 10. Like you can take a visual, like, okay, I'm hanging in there with these guys. And then I went back in 2017, and my mindset was completely different. I said, I'm going to crush this camp. Like I'm going to be the top guy. I'm going to stand out. And it just ties into sacrifice. Like I'll bring it up. I was in a 9-year relationship, through all that depression, through all the wrestling, 9-year relationship, something didn't feel right. And I felt like I had to go after wrestling with everything I got. Like, this is what I need to do. And it wasn't clicking. So a girl I loved and I still cared about, I said, I cut it off. And I went to the camp like a week later, and I said, I'm going to kill this camp. Like, I've got nothing to lose. Like, I don't have a house. Like, I'm gone. Like, I'm going to do everything I can. So they're lining us up, and we're about to do a drill, and they say, go ahead and say your name and do the roll so we can, we realize your name. And guys are going up, and they're standing there. Jeffrey Smith, do a forward roll. John Cena, do a forward roll. So I get up there. I scream at the top of my lungs, John Rodin, sir. Front roll. Go back through again. And then they're like, all right, do a back roll. I'm like, I'm John Rodin. Do a back roll again. I was like, I'm just going to stand out. I'm going to be outrageous. So I said, are you allowed to swear?
Yeah, go for it.
It's just, I go up the one time and I said, who wants to see a big ass roll? And the crowd goes, yeah. Everybody's like, yeah. So I do the roll, and I was just doing everything possible to stand out. And have you heard of Brody King? Yes. Okay, from PWG and all that. Like, he's branching out. Mm-hmm. The first camp, there was a couple guys that got opportunities from that. Like, I started seeing them popping up all over the place. So 2017, I see Brody King, and you gauge the room. I said, this is the guy they're looking at. Like, he's got a look. He's huge. He's covered in tats. Like, I was like, okay, it's going to be me and him. So they're doing a drill. Let's do A, B, and C. He's like, I don't care what you do, but get A, B, and C into this drill. I said, okay. So we didn't talk. We're just looking at each other. I see him jump up. I jump up. I get in the ring with him. And out of nowhere, I just go face to face with him. Bam! Right across his face as hard as I could. I said, everybody thinks you're the top guy here. I'm the top guy. I'm taking over this camp, and I'm getting all eyes on me. Like, I was just cutting a promo in his face. And, like, as soon as I smacked him, the whole room, I was like, okay, I got it. And obviously we clobbered the crap out of each other, and it was amazing. But
and what does A, B, and C mean?
Like, let's say the guy goes, I want to see you hit a clothesline, and one of you try and get an arm drag in there, and the other guy try and do this. Okay. So it was
just kind of hitting the three standard.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want,
yeah.
But I want to see you try and get this in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, without telling him, wham, smacked the taste right out of his mouth. And I was like, I don't know. We became friends after that, but nice. I was like, he's the top guy. Like, I'm gonna make an impression. Like, and that's one of those things. At the end of the camp, we had a match. Do you remember the Axemen that came into RWA?
Yes.
Those giant guys.
Yes, I wish they'd come back. I've been following them ever since.
They're huge.
They're amazing. Usually, the Axemen are like just giant lumberjacks. Like they're probably about my height, about 6'4" right?
Yeah,
but
they're
like
huge.
Real thick, and just look like two beasts.
They're
and
beef,
I think they destroyed an entire battle royal or something.
Yeah,
right?
I was in there. They destroyed me. Yeah,
you're one of them.
They clubbed me. Yeah.
But again, like you're like, oh, it's gonna be like big guy clobber match, but it was real impressive. Those guys were really good.
And the crowd loved them. Like, it was their first night, and like I said, I told them, I said, this crowd's crazy. They're gonna love you. Like, You guys got a character, and you're big, and you hit hard. And so the last day of the camp, they're setting up matches. All right, we're going to have this and this and that. And then the last match, they were setting up me and Brody King versus the Axemen. I was like, okay, let's have the best match we can. So we go out there, and we have a pretty good match. And like I said, we killed it. I feel like we did. It just made sense, and it was like, highs and lows, and it was all this drama. We finished the match, and Steve Carino looks at us, and he says, guys, he said, I don't got a complaint. And he's the NXT coach. He's like an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Guys, I ain't got nothing bad to say about that. He said, I wouldn't be afraid to put that on NXT TV. So inside, I'm like, oh, my gosh. I was like, wow, this is the greatest moment of my life. Like all little things like that. Like, I was like, oh, my gosh, I was so proud. So Brody King, PWG, all over the country, going everywhere. Axemen, all over the country, flying everywhere, stuff like that. And then there's me. So I'm like, I was kind of like another kick. I was like, okay, like I'm knocking on the door. It's going to be my time. Like, I was a part of that. I was a part of that camp.
But now it's kind of like, instead of saying, damn, that should be me, you're looking at,
I'm so close.
You're like, I'm so close. I'm missing just one thing, right?
Yeah. I was like, I was hanging with those guys. And that was my mindset. Like, I'm in there. I'm in the top 4. Like, coming out of that. I said, I'm missing something, but if I stick with this long enough, it's going to show up. Like, I'm going to figure out what it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're still doing it, but yeah, they didn't have a camp this year, but if they did, I would have been there. It's just, you got to show up.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and tell guys. Like, I offer rides in cars. I do all that. Like, I'll give any advice I can, but you have to show up. If you don't show up, nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to come asking for you. You know what I mean? You have to be there. And that's the biggest advice I can give to guys now. Just be there.
And that's everything. It's everything from familiarity to just being there when an opportunity comes up, right?
Somebody cancels, you're there, grab your stuff. It could be anything.
I've been shocked multiple times how many times I would see people backstage at another promotion, and then realize like 2-3 months later, and I see them on the card.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen from there.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Like I said, I went to Evolve seminar, which I'm going to tomorrow. But it was with William Regal, and Gabe Sapolsky said Darby Allin, have you ever heard of him? He said Darby Allin would drive hours upon hours just to set up the ring. And he wouldn't get an opportunity. Boop, go back, set up again, and then eventually his spot opened up, and bam, now he's like one of their top guys in that company. So you got to have that tenacity. You got to be bugging people. You got to be a constant reminder in their ear, and that's what I try to do.
So I usually ask at this point, what's the best and worst about pro wrestling? But I think you've really kind of covered them already in your experiences. So
I've been through the best. I've been through the highs and the lows. So like I get it when people get discouraged, and like in my personal life too. Like so many fans have opened up to me. Like I'm not gonna put all their business out there, but like so many fans have come to me. Your stories inspired me. What you've done has motivated me to do this, A, B, and C. And it's like I said, it's same thing with wrestling. Like recently, Black Diamond. Hey man, I love what you're doing. Blah blah blah. Like I'm not gonna name drop again. I love what you're doing. Every time I see your post, it gets me pumped up. It gets me motivated. But I can't stand you for posting that. Like I can't stand to see you doing so good. I'm like, all right, I'm on to something. Like that could be anybody. I'm no different from anybody else.
It's a good story. It's a good story. It's a good background, and it gets people behind you.
Yeah.
Do you have any? There's been a lot of it throughout, but is there a big nugget of advice, not maybe even for people in wrestling, but people that are dealing with being in a dark place in their life, like you found yourself at one point?
Yeah. Like I said, I try to be there for anybody. Like if a fan messages me, if it's serious, I'll get back to you. Like, even not serious. I talk to so many people, and I don't mind helping, and I don't have all the answers, but like I read books, I watch video, I obsess about positivity, and you just got to bring that into your life. If you're watching negative posts, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to bring you down. If you're calling yourself a piece of crap, then you're going to feel like it. I heard a quote the other day: "Comparison is the thief of joy," and that was the biggest thing, and that hit me. Like I was like, oh, man, because guess what I was doing? Comparing myself to Palace, comparing myself to Wardlow, comparing myself to name a top guy on the scene. Like, why are they getting that? Why ain't I? You don't need to compare. You need to do what you can do. Why ain't I like Brody King? Like, that's another example. Like, don't compare yourself. There's only one you, and You know, I think that's people's biggest problems. I'm not like that person. Well, he has all this stuff. Well, that ain't you, man. That ain't your story. Mm-hmm. Like, I got bad luck. I got this and that. Draw a new hand. Like, I used to work with kids that got arrested and they were on their last strike before they go to jail. You know, juvenile offenders. Well, I just got dealt a bad hand. Draw a new hand. Mm-hmm. The deck's right there.
Take another shot.
Nobody ever said you couldn't draw another hand.
Yep.
So I don't care what disadvantage you have. I've heard every story, you know, and I sympathize with you. I know that's horrible. Like, I understand because I've been horrible. And that's why I have no problem helping people. Like, I know what it's like to feel like you're not enough with wrestling, with your personal life, with everything. So, like, that's my best advice for you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Be the best you can. Wake up every day and try and do something to better yourself. If you have a thought, maybe I should message Sorg and see if I can get on the show. Boom, message him right now.
Look at us 2 weeks later. Here we are.
Yeah, it was instant. Like I said, I'm sitting there at home and I'm like, what am I doing? What could I be doing right now? Okay, I could be messaging this company. Boop, 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 boop. Done. I could be doing this. I should
a lot easier today to do that kind of stuff. Trust me.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Like I said, and like, ask for advice, ask for help. Yeah, ask for help. Never think you're alone. That's the biggest advice too. Don't think you're alone. Everybody's got problems. I've heard horrible stories, and people have been through so much, and I would have never guessed it. You know, people are good at hiding stuff, hiding pain. So talk about it. There's no shame in talking about it. We all go through it. Awesome. I'll listen. People listen.
Where can people find your positive posts online?
John Rodin on Facebook. That's the biggest thing. And then Instagram, Juggernaut Rodin. I think it's Juggernaut_Rodin. But yeah, I mean, follow me, like my stuff. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, we'll talk. I'll talk to anybody. It's all about positivity. And I feel like I'm finally gaining momentum, you know, as far as people supporting me and stuff like that. So,
and I say a lot of before and after pictures about the transformation. Yeah. To see, you know, exactly what all has gone, like how much of a transformation it was for him.
Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, it wasn't perfect. Like, I'm still not perfect. I still struggle to lose weight. I still struggle with self-doubt. Like, you're gonna have that, but you don't stay like that. That's the biggest thing I can say. Don't fall into a rut. If you're upset, be upset for the night. I tell people that too. This happened. Well, be upset. Take an hour to be upset and cry and feel horrible, and then done. There's no reason to stick with it. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Again, if you guys want to check out, look up some old Blue Collar Slaughterhouse.
Don't look up John Blue Collar Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, just, you know, for research purposes.
If you want to have a good laugh, look up Blue Collar Slaughterhouse.
Go find one of those old IWC shows, Blue Collar Slaughterhouse. Then go check out the RWA's Bloody Harvest on VOD. It starts at only $3.99, and you can see like that transformation of the tag team. Yeah. Really, I mean that's an A/B comparison right there.
Yeah, watch 30 seconds of Blue Collar Slaughterhouse, then switch to John Rodin stuff.
Exactly. It's okay. Those old shows are cheap. Thank you so much. It's a great story, and I hope I thank you for coming on and sharing it with everybody here. I think it's really important for some people to hear something like this happening.
No doubt. Thank you so much. Like I said, I waited 8 years to get on the show. We went from I was pulling cord for you at IWC. Now we're having an interview. Like, yeah. And like, I remember the cord would get snagged and he'd be like, "What are you doing? Come on." Like, I'm like, "Oh no."
At least you're not the one I tripped over and said to get out. Right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think he came back. So okay. That's a story for off air. But anyways, thank you so much, everybody. Check it out. Support John Rodin above all today. And always, please support Indy Wrestling. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.